None of us really know. None of us really know.
I know.
No, I know. Perfect timing, Keith.
Keith, what's up?
Your favorite movie of all time. F9.
Oh, good.
How is there any other choice than Remember the Titans being number one?
I'm curious.
I'm spoiling mine, but
Well, let's see. Here we go. Yeah, that's a good, good
I'm
question,
not even
Brian.
done talking.
you shouldn't be talking at this point.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Apocaflix Movies and Apocaflix Now, our weekly hangout show here on the channel where we are talking everything that is movies and television. Very interesting show tonight. The DC slate is officially out there. We have the entire show to do so. We're going to be talking about it, breaking it down, giving our full-fledged thoughts, talking about things that we hope to see in James Gunn's DCU. That'll be here in just a little bit. As you can see, it is myself, Mr. Jacob Bartley, and Brian Avalosino tonight on the panel. No one else will be here tonight, so no, the DC enthusiast himself is not here. It is us tonight, and we're gonna hang out. We're gonna break this down. We're gonna go through every single project one by one and talk about it all. So, gentlemen, let's start with you, Jacob. How it's Tuesday, man. Big movie news today. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Hey, I would say all of us are DC enthusiasts, all right? Gio's just, he's just,
I wouldn't even call Gio a
the-
DC enthusiast. I'd call him a DC
yeah,
lover. I don't
something,
know,
something.
We're more the enthusiasts because we just want it to be good. Like he's already
Exactly.
a fan.
Yeah,
You know?
he's a DC cultist. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
right word.
Oh,
A DC cultist, Jacob, you're on to something.
There we go. There we go. No, I'm good. I mean, it's always good when you wake up to some good movie news, right? Like I remember the days where like
Wake up. It was at 9 a.m.
To be fair,
exactly.
I woke up
exactly.
to it as well.
Look,
What
Jake,
the hell?
some people wake up at 9 a.m. All right, they
Okay.
do.
I was up at 4:45. I was at the gym by 5:45.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because your wife said she made you go to the gym this morning.
She didn't make me do anything. Sorry.
Hey, I get off of work at 6. I stay up till like midnight doing homework. I can sleep till 9. But I will say, I feel like I haven't been on camera or video or anything in like a month. It just feels
since
that
casting
way.
table, I think. Jacob.
Yeah. But I did lose my voice for like a week, so that probably has to do with it. But I will say,
Excuses.
you see my blanket in the background. I will say, my team lost. 49ers are out of it. I'm sad they lost,
Oh.
but I'm relieved because I don't have to think about football for a long, long time. So I'm actually relieved about that.
Classic 49er excuse. Just classic.
Right?
I didn't make any excuses.
Brian, how about you, man?
Oh, I'm chilling. I'm making the wheel right now because we've
Nice.
gotten to a point where you guys' lists. I haven't seen any of these movies, so what I do is I just put your whole entire list in there, spin it 4 times, and those are the 4 movies.
Jesus.
Yes. So for those who
What
don't
am
know
I
what
gonna
Brian's
do?
talking about, he's
What am I-
making the wheel for the movie watching challenge.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could I guess that would take too long, but yeah.
Well, I mean, what am I going to do? Be like, I think you should like this movie because
Wait,
I've
so
never
Brian
seen
should watch all of the movies on our lists and then go challenge us.
it. Absolutely
We
not.
could
I've already-
challenge him to the movies on our list so he can then challenge.
And then
us
he'll
to
like
movies.
have seen all these movies that we haven't seen, which would be
Yeah.
crazy.
I already
Yeah.
have Dom texting me, and he's like, "I think you should watch this movie." And I'm like, "I don't have enough time."
Hey,
I've seen
is
all-
Dom on Discord or is that not him?
No, that's
Dom
it.
Stick is Dom, yeah.
Oh, so we got him on a social media, kind of. Nice. Hey, Dom. glad
So
to
I
have
would
you
I
on
would
there.
consider Discord social media.
Yeah, it is. But I am glad because I like Dom's opinions. So glad to have you on there, man.
All right, well, gentlemen, let's get to this. Let's start this show off before we get to the craziness that is the DC stuff. Let's go and start the show off as we always do here on the channel with the movie watching challenge. I feel like that's just
It was like
Falling
mid
apart.
pack.
It's just
Well,
yeah.
then
That was mid.
and make a thing of my best one and go from there.
No, if
hold
I
on.
make a sound, it's not going to be of you.
Perfect.
Jake, I want like metal clanking, like ting, 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 movie watching
Okay,
challenge.
Mr. Power Ranger.
Like
Okay,
that. What do
relax.
you mean?
Relax.
Jacob, the flute.
Oh, that would be cool. That'd be cool. Jake
Um,
has no idea what we're talking about.
no idea. Okay, so last week, Brian spun the wheel and he landed on the incredible modern day Western that is Hell or High Water. Chris Pine, Ben Foster, Jeff Daniels, Jeff Bridges, excuse me, not Jeff
Yeah,
Daniels.
Jeff Bridges. Jeff Daniels will be a completely different character.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges, not Jeff Daniels. And we're going to hear his thoughts right here, and then we're going to get to the second part of this segment. So, Brian, take it away. Just a few minutes here. What did you think of Hell or High Water?
Yeah. No, it was really good. It was good. I was surprised. I kind of liked how like you kind of knew like where it was heading in the sense of like you knew that they were at some capacity these two roads were gonna like cross. So it's just kind of like wondering when it's gonna happen, and then when it does, it obviously is not great for some. Especially one I literally gasped out loud when it happened.
I mean, the movie's been out for a few years. Spoilers for Hell or High Water. Which one are you speaking
Yeah.
on?
So spoiler 3, 2, 1. When his partner gets shot in the head, I gasped.
Yeah.
I was like I rewound it because I was like, no, like that really happened. I was like, because I didn't see that coming from a mile away. So that was shocking. I loved the ending in the sense of like how Jeff Bridges went over to his house at the end and was just like, I'm gonna get you one of these days. He's like, sweet, I'm gonna get you too. And it's just like you're just like,
That conversation's great.
yeah,
I love that scene.
it was.
Yeah.
That
It's
was
such a
great.
good open ending.
Yeah. And usually I despise endings like that in the sense of like leaving them open and you're just like, you just kind of want that definitive ending. But in this case, it was pretty neat. I liked how they did that. I think if it didn't have the like, I mean, in no way is this like an action movie, but you do get like the
shootouts.
Yeah, like the bank robberies, like that kind of kept me my attention.
Satisfied?
Yeah, well, because I have horrible like movie watching ADHD when I'm at home. At a movie theater, I'm totally fine because that's what you're there to do. But at home, it could be any movie. I'm probably gonna like grab my phone, get up and go get a snack, like something. So if it didn't have that, I think we'd be having a completely different conversation. But yeah, no, it was really good. I'm pleasantly surprised because I did have a couple people send me messages like either like you're gonna hate this movie or like a bunch of other things. So so I was pleasantly surprised that, and although it wasn't so much a Western as I thought it was going to be. It's literally just more like the fact
Well, it's a
that
modern day Western.
I guess for me, I think I was expecting Western, but it's obviously not cowboys and whatnot. It's just literally set in Texas. But yeah, it was good. I was pleasantly surprised.
It's good to hear because Hell or High Water is one of my favorite movies of not just that year, but overall. I think the movie's absolutely fantastic.
It's great. Wait, does Brian watch Yellowstone?
No, he
No,
doesn't.
I
See-
need to. My
Okay.
mom yells at me.
It's from the
all-
same creator, Taylor Sheridan. So,
Yeah, yeah.
So the guy who has like 5 shows on TV right now.
and I will say the partner in Hell or High Water, Gil Birmingham, is a big part of Yellowstone.
Yep, he's great
What,
in
like shot in the
Yellowstone.
head?
Yeah, he is he's basically the Indian mayor, governor, I guess is what you could say.
He's like the leader of the
reservation.
tribes.
He's
of
the leader of the
tribes in that
reservation,
area.
Just
Yeah,
like in
yeah.
Twilight.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Just
yeah,
like
I
in
guess
Twilight.
sure.
Because he's like,
It's a little different, but yeah, it's similar. He's essentially just the leader of the reservation.
He's
I
like
don't
the
know what
political
title.
leader of it. Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what title he holds, but yes, it comes from Taylor Sheridan. Taylor Sheridan does. I mean, I think his writing is incredible. You know, I know that you two aren't fond of it, but he did Sicario, he did Wind River, he did Hell or High Water. He's now doing Yellowstone. He does the Yellowstone spinoffs. He does Mayor of Kingstown. He
Tulsa
does
King,
King,
which I haven't watched, but I heard it's good.
Tulsa King is very good. He does a lot of different stuff, and he's very, very good at it. It all has a very similar tone.
Mhm.
It's like a modern day gangster tale in different settings, right? Whether it be Montana or Oklahoma or anything like that. That's the type of stories he likes to tell, and they're very, very good. So very nicely to hear. I really like that you like this movie because it's such a good film.
I will say it did give me pause to whether or not I should rewatch Sicario.
You should rewatch Sicario, and you should also rewatch Wind River, I think. Oh, God. I know you didn't like it the first time, but I'm telling you, if you rewatch it, you might have a different feeling.
I love Wind River.
Didn't
he
might have a
direct
different
Wind
feeling.
River?
He directed both this and Wind River.
Oh my! He needs to make more. Tyler Sheridan, make some more movies, please.
Taylor Sheridan,
make some more
Tyler
movies.
Sheridan, Cyclops.
Tyler Sheridan is Ty Sheridan.
Ty Sheridan, yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, Taylor Sheridan.
He's too busy with TV. Jacob.
I know, but just every once in a while, like once every 5 years, just give me a movie.
All right, next portion of this, Brian gets to challenge someone else on the panel.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, take it away. Let's bring up those 4 movies. Who are you challenging, and who are you challenging?
Or
what movies are you challenging them to? Excuse me.
I forgot to do the shared screen stuff. Please hold. There we go. All right. I'm challenging Jake to only watch The Birdcage because that's only. That's exactly. No, I'm kidding. I have a backup wheel. I was just doing it to piss him off.
Wow, you took time to make that just for like a 10-second prank. Nice.
Yeah. Well, nice. I mean, if anyone's going to be that. Annoying.
Wait, is there like a thing going on where you're trying to get Jake to watch Birdcage?
No, we found out the other day that Jake hadn't seen Birdcage, and
you challenged me to Birdcage, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know he hadn't seen it though. It's not on his list.
But this was like 2 years ago that you challenged me to Birdcage, and I liked it. I really liked it. Yeah,
I know everyone. I tried, but Jake said no. So
it's per the rules of the segment. You can't challenge the person that.
It's like our only hard rule. Like
it's the only rule of it.
We've broken
it's to make sure all of us get involved.
That's well, Brian needs to be challenged every single other week, so there's that also. But
there's no rule against that.
There is now. So my choice is actually Jacob.
Because didn't see that coming.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the other 2 that aren't here, who knows if they'll be here next time. So this
Alrighty.
I literally have gotten to a point where I haven't even seen maybe like 4 movies in everyone's list.
On each list, yeah.
So at this point, I just put everyone's list in the wheel and let fate decide it, essentially. So in this case, fate has decided that Jacob will either watch True Grit, Queen of the Damned, Airplane, or Office Space.
I'm down for either.
I kind of want you to get Queen of the Damned.
Have you seen any of these movies, Brian?
I have seen Office Space, but not almost to the point where like I kind of wouldn't count it because it's been so long since I've seen it that
I just remember when that movie came out, everybody used to quote it and I was like, what are you guys talking about? And
the stapler.
That's I've heard that stapler reference and like the traffic reference or something, but Also, I am interested in Queen of the Damned because I watched Interview with the Vampire, which is not they're based on novels from the same series, but they're not sequel. Like Queen of the Damned isn't a sequel to that movie, but it's weird. But I was still down to watch it.
Interesting. Okay. We shall see what the fates decide. Oh, I turned the sound off on it. Whoops. Does Jacob get to pick? Oh boy, Jacob
Wild.
gets to pick on a wild.
Nice. I thought that meant I have to watch an Apocaflix video. I was like,
Yep.
damn it.
Also,
No.
you get to choose, my good sir, which
I
of
get to
these
choose.
4 movies
You know
you
what?
would.
Well, you know what? A good thing to see which ones are free on streaming. But
But
all right. Okay, you know which one I really want to watch, honestly, is Airplane. Because I've never seen Airplane.
Really?
Yeah. I've
Okay.
never. So I'm gonna go with Airplane.
All right.
Like it's a spoof it's like one of the classic spoof comedies. I've never seen it, and I know people love it. So I'm gonna go with Airplane.
I've never seen
Fantastic.
Airplane either.
Really? Wow. I know like people from the 80s love it. Like
Yeah.
they absolutely love it.
Well, it
and
looks like you
I
made a-
heard it's like raunchy comedy that would not pass today. Kind of for that. So I'm ready to see what they're talking about.
It looks like you made a good choice because it looks like that is the only one that is available.
I was trying to look it up, but I was like, I'm not going to waste time figuring out which one's on which.
It says it's on
service.
Hulu.
Perfect. There we go. I have Hulu.
All right. Well, there it is.
I'm ready to
Jacob
go.
will be watching and reviewing Airplane next week. That review might have Brian on it, but probably not because he's never seen it. Maybe one of the other Apocaflix movie members will jump on with Jacob as he reviews it.
You know what I am going to do? I'm going to set a reminder. Watch Airplane. Let's do Saturday.
Don't set it for Tuesday.
No, because last time I was like, it was Tuesday. I was at work. I was like, oh shit, I totally forgot to watch my movie. Like, let me text Jake real quick.
Yeah, I actually get those texts quite frequently.
I got it
from this group.
There we go.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Let's open the floodgates here and talk some DCU. We have a lot to unpack. There is a lot of news coming our way from earlier today. Excuse me. And just a tiny bit of backstory on this. Everyone pretty much knows what happened in the case here. But James Gunn, well, first of all, an article came out. Variety posted the first article. A number of outlets did. They all got access because they were at a press junket or press conference about it yesterday. And all of these news articles came out at 9 a.m. this morning. The first one that I saw was a Variety, which is why I am quoting them. On my Twitter timeline, they were the first one to come through. I have their article popped up. And not soon thereafter, James Gunn himself posted a video of him breaking down the 10 projects that will be included in the first wave of the new DCU, which is titled Gods and Monsters. The first set of movies, I'm not going to call it phase 1, but chapter 1 is called Gods and Monsters.
Love that, how they're doing it in chapters.
We're going to go through these individually, but I'm going to name the 10 projects right now. So, going movies first, we have Superman Legacy, we have The Authority, The Brave and the Bold, which is a Batman project, but it's just titled The Brave and the Bold. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and Swamp Thing. Moving on to television, we have Creature Commandos, we have Waller, Lanterns, Paradise Lost, and Booster Gold. Those are the 10 DC projects headed our way. We are just going to go in order of the article I have in front of me. I might bounce back and forth between movies and television to give a little bit of fairness there, but we're going to start off. Actually, first of all, I just want your guys' instant reaction to all of this stuff. I don't want you guys going into detail about which one you're excited about, anything like that, because we're going to get to that here in just a second. But I just want, in 1 or 2 sentences, the instant reaction of seeing what was announced, that there's a plan, that we're moving forward, and that a new version of this DCU is coming. Jacob, I'll start with you. What was your immediate reaction to all of this news?
So my immediate reaction was excitement because I'm glad they have a plan. And whether we like the plan or not, a plan is a good thing. We've seen this before with other franchises, even this franchise, the DC franchise. They had a very loose plan, and when you don't have a plan, like it ends up failing most of the time. So that's awesome that they have a plan and they have a direction and they have like a couple people overseeing this clear direction. So I'm excited about that. And no surprise that we're getting well-known projects and obscure projects. And they're all gonna intertwine a little bit. So I'm excited about that. I do have some concerns, but overall, like very, very positive reaction to this.
I'm in a similar-ish boat. I like that it includes. So I expected to kind of get news on the trio, whether it was the exact trio, because like the Wonder Woman project, for example, isn't a Wonder Woman project. It's about the island.
Yeah.
But we got, like Jacob said, the well-known stuff: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and then we got some stuff that hasn't been touched: the Green Lanterns. Swamp Thing got a TV show that was cut way too short, etc. And then we got the super unknown variety projects like the Authority, Creature Commandos, stuff like that. It's a well-balanced slate. I think it looks good. It's interesting. So I can sum it up like this. I like what was announced, and I'm interested in what was announced, but I'm still very confused on where everything is kind of headed. It feels like a little bit of a messy slate. That's just all I'm going to say. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just kind of saying, like, right now, it feels like there's just pins all over the board with no strings attaching. And obviously that changes over time. But Brian, what about you?
In the brightest day, in the blackest night. I'm sorry, I know, Jake. Like, don't just talk about that one thing. I'm honestly just on board. I'm just here for the ride. I'm kind of like, at this point, just let the chips fall and hopefully it works. So I'm just kind of like, I'm not gonna invest everything into it this point. Am I optimistic? Yeah, definitely optimistic. Because it sounds like they actually have a plan, which is always a good thing. So yeah, it's funny though, because when I was thinking to myself, like, some characters that I was like, who could he announce? Because it's clearly, like, at least it was to me. I don't know about you guys. Like, I had a feeling you weren't going to get your main Justice League. Like, here's what we're doing next, and it was going to be.
Although we got 3 of them.
Yeah, but I didn't ever expect it to be like, here's your Superman movie, here's your Batman, here's your Green Lantern, here's your Wonder Woman, like that.
I agree.
So I was kind of thinking to myself, like, who are some side list, like maybe B characters that he's going to grab? And he grabbed 2 of the 3 I immediately thought he was going to grab. And so by some of these, I'm not surprised. But I mean, I got what I wanted. So I'm optimistic. I'm not gonna poop on it because I don't know some of these things. I kind of like that they're not immediately going straight to the Justice League. So
you have to do something different. Like, that's what they've been doing. So,
and I think that's why you're getting some of these other ones that we're about to talk about. So,
all right, well, let's get into it. Before we do so, I just want to clear things up in case anybody doesn't know. I'm going to bring up an image real quick to kind of clear up where kind of like the universe lies. And I want to give a huge shout out to Adam Lovick from Heroes Reforged. I follow this dude. I've been following him for years. He puts out the best graphics, and he put out this graphic of the DC universe that is going to help us so much tonight. So here's a look at what is coming for the DC universe. Let's break it down like this. So everything on top is currently what coming out this year. And James Gunn he came out and said the Flash is rebooting everything. It is a reboot. We don't know what that means for something like Blue Beetle or Aquaman. Obviously, there's a huge possibility that they can continue on. Obviously, same thing for the Flash, same thing for Shazam. But we don't know what is happening after the Flash. All we know is that it's going to reboot everything. And then down below, Outside of the DCU, the Gods and Monsters of Chapter 1, everything that is not included in that is considered DC Elseworlds. That is the 2 Joker films. That is the 2 Batman movies, Teen Titans Go, and Superman and Lois on the CW. That is all the rest of the DC projects that are currently in production or out there working right now. It is DC Elseworlds.
I love that name for those, by the way.
Yes, it's perfect. It's a comic throwback. It's perfect. And just to say, it's official. The title for the Batman sequel is The Batman Part 2. That was one of the announcements, but that is a quick cover. Nothing really to talk about there.
One question, sorry, since you're here. Was that logo that's there, is that an official one or someone?
No, these are all logos that were pulled by Adam.
I was just going to ask the same.
Nothing are official.
Is there a Batman Part 2 logo or any art at all?
Well, no, he's just taking the original and changing the color.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure.
Yeah. And he's probably changing the color to make it look like Mr. Freeze.
Yes, that's
well,
why I
that's what I was going to say. If that's the color, then that's definitely what they're going for.
So, and I will also add that for the moment, at least the first 3 properties in the Gods and Monsters section are the order that they will be released. So the first project we're going to be getting is the animated series Creature Commandos, followed by Waller, which we'll get to, and then the first film will be Superman Legacy. And we'll get to all that here in just a second. But we're going to start with Superman Legacy because that is the first one on my list here in the article. And just a little cover up real quick of it. It's going to be released on July 11th, 2025. So 2 years from this July. And it will mark the start of the DCU. It will not be an origin story. And this is quoted from the article. It focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He is the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks of kindness as old-fashioned. Gunn is obviously writing the project that was announced early on, but it was said that Peter Safran is hoping and trying to get him to possibly direct it. So James Gunn could possibly direct it after finishing writing the film. Nothing else was really announced. Obviously, we have a title here. James Gunn did say Superman is for everyone. That's a 4-quadrant film that should speak to everyone in the world.
What does that mean, a 4-quadrant film?
Like quadrants of the earth, like everybody.
Got it.
I will just say this off the bat. So look, I think obviously when this Superman movie was announced a couple months back that James Gunn was writing it, my first reaction was they're going to try to go back to classic soups, but put a little bit of a different spin on it. And I think the title very much calls that. Like Superman Legacy is a very classic, original, old school title, right? Legacy of the character, kind of looking back at what this character means. And it leads me to believe that we might get an original villain for Superman. I just have high hopes for someone like Brainiac, who is what I've been wanting to see for so long.
When original, you mean like completely original? Or you mean somebody we haven't seen yet?
Like a Lex Luthor type is what I mean.
Oh, okay.
I mean like a Lex Luthor or a classic Superman villain. I could be completely wrong, but that's just what Legacy kind of falls in line for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this film is... I'm not afraid to say now that this movie is going to be good to great because it is so important for them. Like it is so important for them to not just start the universe off good, but to bring us a Superman that we've been wanting for 10 years, right? Henry Cavill is not going to be Superman, so you have to sway people over. Like it has to be good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same conversation we had with the Batman, right? Like it has to be good. But I like everything that's said about it. I like the way that they're going about it. A summer 2025 release date means that they're going to be getting going very soon. I like it. I mean, it sounds great, and it's not an origin film, which we don't need to see anymore. We don't need that. They're going to jump right into Clark Kent, but he's going to be a little bit of a younger version. I'm all for it right now. I really am, and I would not mind Gunn directing it either.
I think my biggest question going into this movie is the age of Superman. That is my biggest question in the sense of curiosity, mostly. I'm curious where because I mean that's technically gonna be a lot. Like you're gonna if they're starting young, clearly they're gonna build into it. Like if he's like, I'm just using as an example, I don't think he will. If he was starting in high school, it's going to take a while to get to something more. I don't think he's going to start in high school. I think he'll be probably maybe early to mid 20s.
Well, so once Superman becomes an adult, like his aging slows. So like it kind of doesn't matter what his age is.
I see it as
I meant it as more maturity because like he's.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Brian, I think we're gonna pick up within the first year or two of him being at the Daily Planet. At like, let's say out of college, 24, 25, 26, year or two into the Daily Planet, he's a reporter and he's just been Superman. Like, let's say like the Batman was year 2 of Robert Pattinson's Batman. Let's put it as year 2 of Superman. That's kind of what I see.
That's fair.
As like an official Superman. Like he's been doing things for a couple years, but he's been like out about doing his thing as Superman for a couple years.
Yeah. So I mean, that honestly, listen. Am I bummed Henry Cavill's not coming back? Sure. He was great. Love the guy. I mean, he was the embodiment of Superman. But if I want to see good stuff, I need to move on from that and let a new thing flourish. Because, I mean, I'm not going to enjoy it if I'm holding on to that one grudge. Okay? Because they might put out the most amazing things. But if I'm going to be negative and focus on that one thing, then I'm setting myself up for failure. So I'm very optimistic about it. I think honestly, I'm just kind of leaving it blank in my mind. I don't know if I go the same route as you, Jake, in the sense of thinking like someone like Brainiac is going to show up. Like, I think Brainiac to me is like when I think of him as like a pretty big one that you would save. But then again, Superman's villains are a lot of them are pretty big in general.
The only reason I say that is because he's one of the few that haven't been used.
Yeah, exactly.
That is,
yeah.
That, I mean, again,
I don't want to see the same old stuff. Like we didn't want to see Joker, right? For Robert Pattinson's Batman.
I think it might be a Brainiac. I think he's the next one in line, like the next biggest one in line that they haven't used.
I mean,
there's two, Brainiac and Bizarro.
Yeah. I mean,
Bizarro wouldn't be a terrible idea either. Like it would.
Wasn't he in Superman 4 or Superman 3?
Well, he's in the originals.
Yeah.
The originals. Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank.
Brainiac was in Smallville, so was Bizarro.
Oh yeah, true.
I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Is it one of those?
No.
Because those aren't bad options out there. Oh, Metallo.
Thank you. That's who I was thinking.
Metallo. He would be good. He would be good.
Yes, that is exactly who I was thinking.
He would be good.
I could see that being a villain. Because it's not a crazy ironic I said pick out of all words legacy. Like one of those like Lex Luthor or Brainiac.
Well, and if you wanted to, you can play the whole field of like, ooh, who created Metallo? Lex Luthor created Metallo.
Yeah, sure.
Like you could set that up.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of things if you want to look into the positive that could go really well for us. My biggest question is just literally like, where is he going to be in your life? And I think that what you said is pretty much if I had to put money on a bet down, that's probably exactly what it is. Kind of like you said, we don't need the origin. You and I were talking about it yesterday. We get the origin of Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man. Like we got it. Like we've beaten that.
We don't ever have to see it again.
Exactly.
Honestly.
So
we don't need to see that much death.
Yeah. So I think starting in the vein of like Batman, where it's like we kind of already got the go ahead, I think it'd be a smart move. And I think it'd be kind of cool because it would definitely be different than what we've seen before. So, and we didn't get that much Clark Kent in the last iteration. So it'd be kind of
barely got him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it'd be kind of a cool way to start it.
Jacob, before I get to you to answer Gordon's question real quick, do you think they might try to do a Doomsday right? I 100% agree, but it won't be for a number of years.
Yeah, not for a while.
Doomsday is a terrifying villain, but he's almost a global scale villain. Like he's gigantic.
Yeah.
That's a build up piece right there. So
Yeah.
eventually,
And
possibly.
they need to do him the original storyline where they kept killing him and he came back, and every time they did it, he got stronger. They need to do that. Like,
He's
show
not
that
a
on
creation from Earth. He's Kryptonian.
Yeah,
Like
show that on
that's where
screen.
he comes from. So
because that's
anyway,
terrifying.
Jacob, thoughts on
That's why I think Metallo would be a dope
yeah.
kind of like. I mean, I love that idea that you just thought of Lex Luthor just being the one that makes him, and
why not?
Like, I love that idea. So,
Jacob, just thoughts on Superman here?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know much about it, right? He kind of just said, "Hey, I'm making Superman Legacy." That's it.
Didn't you say he's like halfway through it too, or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll probably start filming, I would say, next spring.
We know they
maybe
want
this fall
relatively young actors to play these roles, not only because they've kind of we've heard the stories, right, of like Dave Bautista being told he's too old or whatever, right? So we know they're going for a younger cast in general, especially so these actors can play these characters for 20 years. And it's a smart business move. So I don't mind that. If you think when you guys were talking about where Superman's at in his life, they're very different characters. But think of Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in Spider-Man 2. Maybe this Superman has that much experience being Superman at this point. And look, he was working for the Daily Bugle and Spider-Man, Daily Planet. So he can kind of be in that sense where he's not too experienced. But again, we don't need to see him fight Zod for the first time again. Like, we've seen it several times. We don't need to see. I love Zod. He's my favorite Superman villain, but we don't need to see it again.
We don't need Zod and Lex Luthor for like 2 or 3 movies.
Yeah, let's do something new and fresh. I mean, I didn't joke about it, but I threw around the idea of like, I don't think she could take him on by herself, but someone like a Zatanna or somebody who has a magical ability, because we know one of Superman's weaknesses is magic. So if you have a character, I mean, there's probably magical characters that I don't even know of that someone who knows a lot about DC can tell me about. Maybe Zatanna works with them and then switches sides or something. You could have a situation like that. Just they got to do something fresh,
or send Zod after Supergirl instead of it always just being Superman.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, they got to do something fresh. And yes, okay, they already said, justice in the American way, all that stuff. I don't mind having a Superman who's like that, but then like the world just keeps kicking him down, and like they keep showing him like, no, like sometimes you have to fight dirty, like whatever, that's cool to have, but it can't just be like happy-go-lucky all the time Superman, right? So I just hope it's like they don't try to, feed to that audience too much. But I'm cool to have just an optimistic character, because Henry Cavill Superman was he wasn't necessarily like that, which I loved, but not everybody did. So I'm cool with like a super upbeat, optimistic Superman who through his experiences just realized he doesn't always have to be like that or act that way. And maybe this is the movie where he learns that, where sometimes it's a flaw to be like that. So I could see something like that. But yeah, Superman, look, he's not only the biggest superhero in DC, he's the biggest superhero, period. And he needs to be treated with respect. And I'm still confused. Like, why do we have actors and projects from the previous regime, and why do other stuff come out before this? But I'm all down for the Superman movie.
The continuity is a little confusing right now, but I think they're saving that for everything that they don't want to say anything until after the movies come out. Because if they say, oh, these movies don't matter, people aren't going to go watch them.
Then they tip exactly.
They got to say that a little bit.
I will say with that, I'm not looking too far into like what's coming where, because like James Gunn's not stupid in the point where he's not going to make the same mistake that's being constantly made. Like clearly they had to make a plan and not just throw shit to the wall and hope it sticks. So,
all right, moving on. We're going to get to our first television show here, and it's the first project that's going to be released for this new universe. That's going to be Creature Commandos. Here's a little backstory on Creature Commandos. So it's an animated series that's going to be on HBO Max, and it was the first project that was greenlit by Safran and Gunn. And James Gunn wrote every single episode for the series. The Creature Commandos first launched in 1980, and the premise features Frankenstein's monster teaming up with a werewolf, vampire, and a gorgon to fight Nazis in World War II. And it doesn't appear that Gunn's version takes the same approach because Weasel, one of the characters from 2021 film The Suicide Squad, is one of the commandos, along with Rick Flag Sr., the father of Rick Flag from the Suicide Squad movies. So it's going to be a different version of the Creature Commandos. You could possibly see Frankenstein's monster, but we know for right now, 2 of the characters are going to be Rick Flag Sr. and Weasel. It's animated. And Gunn also said that he said that actors who are voicing characters on the show will also play the roles in live action later on in the DCU.
I love that.
Which is a big deal. So the connectivity is big time for this. So whoever voices these characters in this show, possibly if we see them ever in live action, that will be who is playing them. So I will say this right off the bat. I'm very much looking forward to this show. I think this is an awesome idea. It's fun, it's different, it's unique. It's one of those obscure projects that we talked about that is so different and wild, but can bring together so many different things. I very much put this in the vein with Werewolf by Night, kind of what Marvel just did with that property. And it's going to be animated, which is really cool, and it lends them to do a lot of different things. I think there's a lot of cool possibilities. I would love to see them fight Nazis, but if it's taking place in modern day, that's probably not going to happen. Maybe it's just the Russians instead. Who knows? But I'm all in for Creature Commandos, and it being the first project out there too is actually pretty cool as well. So, thoughts, boys?
Oh, Jacob.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I will admit I've never heard of this before until today. Never. And I don't know anyone who has, but look, it's James Gunn. He wrote it all. I knew as soon as James Gunn was announced as co-chairman, I knew like 10% of the projects we're going to get are going to be passion projects that James Gunn has been wanting to do his whole entire life, that he probably already had ideas for before ever getting this job. And I'm okay with that. I'm not hating on him for it. Like anybody would do this in their position. They're going to do what they want to do, as long as he gives the same love to the other stuff too. So we're going to get this weird, obscure stuff. I'm very curious because like, then it also brings up the question, is this Rick Flag Sr. the dad of the Joel Kinnaman Rick Flag? Like, or is it like the Rick Flag Sr. from the new DCU? Like that. So I'm curious about that. And then his Weasel's probably from Suicide Squad. So
yeah, that's what the article said. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like it's going to be like at every project that comes out, we're going to learn a new thing about this whole new DC plan. And it's going to just like a new puzzle piece each time. So I'm curious to see how this turns out.
Jake, did you grab that image?
What image?
The one that they put out for it of the characters?
No, but I was just grabbing a random one online.
Oh, here, I have it right here. So I think it looks cool. I mean,
was that an official image or is that like from the comics?
It's the one that everyone's using.
It was probably in the video with James Gunn. That's why.
Yeah.
They put up images while he was talking.
So is Weasel and Rick Flag in this image?
That's the one I was pulling. So that's the image.
Yeah. So
it is Frankenstein's. It is Frankenstein's monster, Weasel, Rick Flag Sr., and a couple of other characters.
Yeah.
As well.
So I have the list right
The
here.
DC Ghost Rider is that who that is?
So their group consists of Bride of Frankenstein, which in the video they said is the leader essentially.
Not surprised.
Dr. Phosphorus, which is the Ghost Rider looking one. And then Rick Flag Sr., Eric Frankenstein, obviously, G.I. Robot, obvious, and Dr. Nina Mazursky and Weasel. So
wait, is Dr. Nina Mazursky the one?
The
fish.
The fish.
Yeah.
Fish lady.
You know what? This is awesome. Honestly,
you can't not expect James Gunn to do random wild characters. So I'm kind of all on board with it. And I love the idea of the actors having to voice and play them in live. I think that's a genius move to like, this is like, before you even think about it, like, we're not going to get like Ashley Eckstein, where it's like, she's going to do this voice, and then
Yeah.
eventually think of 20 years later or whatever. Oh, it'd be kind of cool if we used her in live action, but we can't use the voiceover. I
So
think
then,
it's
who does Rick Flag Sr. look like? Because that's who's playing him in live action.
I don't know, but I love
John
that-
Hamm.
Oh, that's perfect. There we go.
Shh, that's casting table.
Yeah.
But I it's cool. I love that they already thought like that ahead. Like, hey, this is at some point going to be live action.
Wait, so they're doing the Universal monster movie before Universal ever gets to do it?
Yeah,
because they got
Pretty
Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster and Bride of Frankenstein, which
Yeah.
were supposed to be part of that.
So I mean, I'm down for it. I think it looks cool. I'm excited. DC can get away with doing more graphic and violent and stuff like that. And I guarantee you this is going to be one of those shows.
Well, and it was in the announcement. I don't know if it came from James Gunn directly or not, but each project will be rated based on the project.
Based on the project. So the only reason I asked this is because this show reminds me of it. Did they say anything about Harley Quinn, like the show? Because
but they already greenlit season 4. She'll probably just be an Elseworld thing.
Okay,
That's
because like even in that
Elseworlds
image,
project, yeah.
it didn't show Harley Quinn down there. But I know that wasn't
that's an
image.
Elseworlds project. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know it is, but they're not going to cancel it, right?
I don't think so because she's doing
one
that
thing,
show's doing so well with awards
Yeah.
and stuff too. But yeah, cool. Creature Commandos. Have I heard of it before? No, I'm not going to even fake that that I knew it. But
We need to come up with a DC review show, boys. By the way, let's not do that now because we have to move on. We have a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about.
DC Decoded. There you go.
That's possible. All right, next one that we're talking about on the docket is the next film, and that is The Authority, one of the obscure projects that I am so hyped for. The Authority is a super, super interesting project. It's right there on the right-hand side. Let me go ahead and break it down for you via the Variety article real quick. It says an ensemble movie about superhumans who have less than idealistic approach to saving the world. James Gunn said he is very excited about this project. The characters are originally from Wildstorm, which is basically a rival comic company, and was launched in 1992 as an independent entity under a current DC comic. And the Wildstorm characters were then later folded into the main line when DC rebooted for New 52. The Authority, let's see. James Gunn said this: it isn't just a story of heroes and villains. And not every movie and TV show is going to be about good guys versus bad. These are people that are very questionable, like the Authority, who basically believe that you can't fix the world in an easy manner, and they take things into their own hands. They're kind of like Jack Nicholson and A Few Good Men. They know what they want. They know that you want them on the wall, or at least they believe that. It's being written now, and it did not say who is actually writing it, but there is a giant writing room that is being involved, which is really, really cool. Here is an image. Let me go and bring it up. I can't break down every single character, but this is one of the images that was used during the announcement, and this is what some of them look like. So here's the main team of the Authority, and I will say this. So you have the gentleman with the glowing ring around his head. He was kind of created in comparison to Superman, and the gentleman down here in the black suit was created in comparison to Batman. The only difference is they are actually partners in life.
Boyfriend.
They are partners in life. They aren't just leaders of the team, but they are partners in life. And obviously you could see a Hawk Girl type character. You have a Wonder Woman type character. They're very similar. Honestly, I read this and my first thought was, okay, this is James Gunn doing Guardians of the Galaxy for DC, but this is the Inhumans announcement Marvel made when they were originally going to do Inhumans, but this movie's actually going to happen. Like, WB is actually going to do this movie. I liken it very much to what Marvel was going to do with Inhumans. I'm excited. It's interesting. It's different. It's unique. It's characters we've never met before. And they don't really kind of toe the line of like the Justice League. They are very much kind of a back and forth type of character. So I'm all for it.
So I actually knew about Midnighter and Apollo, the Superman and the Batman ones. Those were the only two I I knew about them. I didn't know they were a part of the Authority, but I knew those two existed, obviously, because I was like, oh, a boyfriend type superhero thing. So I knew that. So when I saw their image come up, I went, oh, those are gay characters. So I was like, this is gonna be great. Like I was all on board, like, and people are gonna be pissed when these two come in. It's like Superman and Batman and their boyfriends. So I'm all for that because it's gonna be interesting to see how people react to that. Yeah, I love it. I don't know anything about the Authority.
We don't know anything about it right now. We know
No,
nothing.
but I meant like comics or any of that.
Yeah.
I don't know it. I have no backstory of knowing it other than just Midnighter and Apollo being partners. That's
Yep.
it. That's as far as my knowledge goes.
Midnighter.
Into it.
Nice.
Midnighter, yeah. So I dig it. I think this to me is very smart because this is setting up you still have like a Justice League type thing, maybe like just that like
the group, the team.
Yeah, that group
Yeah.
aspect, because you don't want to immediately jump back into the Justice League. So it's like, let's give them this, and who knows? Maybe they become bad at some point, and you're gonna have the two groups going.
I think you're 100% going to see Justice League versus the Authority.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I dig it. I love it. I think it's awesome. And again, down.
Yeah, I mean, I again never heard of the Authority before, but I'm so glad that James Gunn did this video because the little things that he said about these characters, like 30 seconds he took to talk about each project, gave me enough information on each one. And I loved it because what he said, I forget the exact wording, but he said they're superheroes who think the world is like gone too far or it's corrupt or something. They basically believe like the world is corrupt and it's not worth saving or something like that. And so
basically believe you can't fix the world in an easy manner and they take things into their own hands.
Exactly. So that's what I was looking for. And so knowing that their ideals are definitely going to conflict with.
They sound like the anti-heroes of DC.
With Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne, you know, they're definitely going to have a problem with these guys.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see that because, you know, we're going to meet our Superman. Eventually we're going to meet our Batman, and then we're going to meet this group. And I think they're going to be a problem for the main DC heroes. So
I love it.
I'm excited about that. Yeah.
It's going to be good. It's going to be really, really good. We're going to learn much more about that. There was no official release date for that, but it's going to be released after Superman. So it could be fall of 25 or spring of 26. And if I'm not mistaken, Peter Safran said that they are aiming for 2 films a year and 2 series a year.
So Mike,
that's good.
What I was just going to say is where do you think the farthest this chapter will hit? 2027?
Well, let's say they do 2 movies a year and 2 series a year starting in 25. Or let's say 25, let's say they do 1 movie, 1 series.
Well, because there's going to be nothing next year, right?
So no, there's nothing. So 25 would be 1 movie, 1 series. Let's just hypothetically say that's 1 movie, 1 series. That's 2 projects out of the way. That leaves 4 movies and 4 series. That's 26 and 27. Okay. So that's 3 years worth of content essentially.
That's fine.
And then 28 would be some new stuff. So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
I think they're genius for not oversaturating.
I agree too. I agree. All right. Next thing that we're going to be talking about here. Oh, real quick, actually, I want to bring this up. Jeremy Miller, thank you so much for the super sticker.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you as always.
Good photo.
All right. Let's get to the next project here. We're going to go back to a TV series. And this one is very interesting because it actually puts one of the previous projects on hold, and that is Waller. Amanda Waller, Viola Davis's Amanda Waller is officially getting her own TV show. And the big deal here is that it is putting Peacemaker season 2 on hold for the moment. Doesn't mean it won't be made, but it is currently being put on hold. And the thing here is that both Peacemaker, Well, let me just read this real quick. With Gunn focused on Superman Legacy for the foreseeable future, season 2 of Peacemaker has been put on hold. Instead, the team Peacemaker will be appearing alongside Davis as a continuation of that show, which ended with Waller's daughter outing Task Force X and Waller's role running it to the world. Excuse me. That was very confusing. And a big thing here for people who saw that Doom Patrol was canceled by HBO Max, the writer of Doom Patrol is actually writing the series. So
I'm happy to hear that.
That is a very, very cool thing there. And Peter Safran went on to say that they are crushing it. And it's just the greatest show ever, is what James Gunn said. So, look,
sorry to add to yours. I don't know if it will, because I was going to say that in there. I heard this is basically like, it's not entirely, but like it's like almost like the 1.5 in between 1 and 2 of Peacemaker.
Well, I would imagine they're doing Peacemaker at some point. So yeah, you can probably say that it's the 1.5. It's going to be an espionage type show.
Yeah.
Spy espionage type show. And with them saying that Team Peacemaker will appear, it very much feels like the civil war between Avengers Age of Ultron and Avengers Infinity War, you know?
Yeah. It when I heard it and heard that, it gave me very much like Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett back to Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's probably what you're saying.
Peacemaker, Waller.
I think so too. I'm bringing up Jane's
it's not
comment
a full-on reboot then, basically.
I was going to bring up Jane's comment here. Do you think that being that the Peacemaker characters are still around the Suicide Squad might be canon still? I mean, at the moment, Jane, I'll say yes, but the Flash could change everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, these characters that we're going to be seeing like in the Waller show could be different versions of the characters we met because of what happens in the Flash.
Yeah.
Not to say they're variants, because variance isn't a thing, but the Flashpoint paradox, which is what the Flash is based off of, has to do with time travel, and it changes choices of those characters. So the Waller that we know may be different based on the choices she makes because of the time travel that the Flash does.
Basically,
it's
like,
all confusing.
Rewrites history, right? Like,
yes.
It's still that same person, but their history changed.
They're not variants. It's the same exact character, but their history and their life changed based on the choices that were made by other people and themselves. So, I mean, look, what I expected.
Or she might have a different hairstyle or something, you know?
Yeah, I expected this just because I think
you're an idiot if you just want to recast Viola Davis, who absolutely.
Well, that and she's seen as kind of like the golden piece of DC. She is used in as much things as possible. And she was in Suicide Squad, then she was in Black Adam, then she was in the Suicide Squad, and then she was in Peacemaker. Like, she's popping up all over the place.
She's there, Nick Fury.
Yeah, and it makes sense. And James Gunn doing Peacemaker and James Gunn doing the Suicide Squad, it just made sense. It's a bummer that Peacemaker's being put on hold, but yeah, I mean, it's not surprising.
I'm not too concerned with Peacemaker 2 being put on hold because I think you're going to get a good amount of people from Peacemaker jumping into Waller, especially like the daughter, I would imagine.
Vigilante, come on.
I know that's honestly
he's the best.
I want him more than to see him again sooner than I want Peacemaker. So yeah, I'm down. I'm optimistic. You're an idiot if you're gonna bet against Viola Davis in any capacity. So even if the movie's crap, she's gonna be fantastic. So
it's kind of like keeping J.K. Simmons like in the Spider-Man movies. Like, who cares? Like, just
put him back.
It's just that good.
It's that good. Who cares?
It's just that good. Yeah,
that's a great comparison, Jacob.
Yeah. Which, anyways, I'm okay with, like, it's Viola Davis. Like, she's so good in that role and intimidating. Like, I think, like, I just get instantly intimidated when she pops up on screen. I'm like, uh-oh. Like,
yeah.
So I don't mind it. We'll see. It's basically Peacemaker season 1.5.
Yeah, and note, this is the second project that will be released for DC, which leads me to believe that Creatures, Commandos, and Waller will both be early 25, late spring 25, before Superman in July of 25.
I have a feeling they're going to go TV show movie for the year.
Well, no, we know the first two are Creature Commandos Waller.
Oh.
They said that. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah. So it's Creature Commandos Waller, then Superman are the first three officially. And Creature Commandos is animated, so maybe that comes out fall of 24, and then Waller is spring of 25 before Superman. But either way, the first three that we're getting are Creature Commandos, Waller, and then Superman Legacy. All right, before we move on to the Brave and the Bold, I'll bring up the comment here from World Biggest Geek. Hello, fellas. Excellent news that we got the DC Universe, especially the title, Super Cool Gods and Monsters. I'm ready for the brand new change for DC, and hopefully Chapter 1 will be awesome. We're with you, man. We are with you. I love your logo, Marvel and DC together.
Yeah,
love that.
I think we're all pretty.
We need more people
optimistic.
with you.
Yeah, we're all super optimistic. I don't think you're gonna. I mean, at least with us, no one wants to see them fail. Like we want good content. So, I mean, and this looks cool.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next project, and it's the Batman project, The Brave and the Bold. Little backstory here, because this is a big deal. Let's see. Let's make sure I'm reading this right. The Brave and the Bold will introduce the Bat family. First among them is Robin, who is returning fully to live action for the first time since 97. 97's ill-fated feature, Batman and Robin. I love the verbiage there.
Does he have bat nipples in this?
Yeah. This version of Robin is Damian Wayne. Gunn described him as our favorite Robin, a little son of a bitch, an assassin, and a murderer, which is very true. If you guys have not watched Batman and Son,
that one's good.
The DC animated movie, I highly recommend go. I believe it's called Batman and Son. Go watch
Son of Batman, I think, right?
Son of Batman. Thank you. I think that's what it's called. It is incredible. It's very good. Damian is Bruce Wayne's biological son, a fact unknown to Wayne for the first 8 to 10 years of Damian's life. And Gunn went on to say it's a very strange sort of father-son story about the two of them. The project is based on the run of Batman comics authored by Grant Morrison, who Gunn said was exponentially influential on the DCU. The other comic writer mentioned by name was Tom King, who Tom King is in the DCU writers' room.
Really?
And he is part of the writers' room. So yeah, look, we're getting a new Batman, but we're getting a Batman that is a little bit older because he has a 10-year-old son. And for those who don't know, the son of Batman, Damian Wayne, is the son of Talia al Ghul, which is a very big deal. The daughter of Ra's al Ghul, League of Assassins, the whole nine. That is the mother-father combo for this little son of a bitch. This little shit. I'm telling you, if you know Damian Wayne, he is a little shit.
Oh, he's
there's
gonna
a reason
murder.
why. There's a
murder
reason why James Gunn went with this character.
Yeah.
Look, I'm all for it. I think it's a great idea. It's a different take on Batman. It's something that we haven't seen yet. I have questions about it as to why they went with this Robin. But I will say the one thing coming out of this, because it's the one thing I wanted, the first thing that came to my mind was, welp, that means Nightwing and the rest of the Bat family are out there. They are out there. Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, Jason Todd, Batgirl, they are all out there doing their thing out in the world. And that means that eventually, hopefully, we will get them. So,
yeah.
And Andy, you are 100% right. Do not cast white actors.
For
Damian Wayne.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And Damian Wayne. Yeah.
So you brought up one thing that I've been thinking about a second ago. The age of Batman. I'm curious how they do this, because in no way do they have to make Batman older.
35 to 40.
He could be 30.
I was going to say anywhere about 35, because I mean
that means he banged Talia al Ghul at 25. That's plausible.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So in my mind is maybe he's like maybe he was training League of Assassins.
That's what I was thinking. Like he was there when he was young, and they hooked up, and then he had to leave
and left, and he grew up there and became a little psychopath.
I just love the fact that we're getting an openly like sex appeal Batman. Like it's finally happening, right? Like he's finally going to be banging around.
Been waiting for it.
Because let's be honest, Bruce Wayne he's banging everybody. Like, let's be
Sure.
honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Very true.
I think that is very much a lot of this. For a lot of my questions have been regarded age, like how old are you making Superman?
I already
And it
have the
does-
perfect Batman.
You what? Oh well.
I already have the perfect Batman.
Well, save it. Don't fan cast
I
it.
want to say it's so bad.
Well,
not
if you do, I'm gonna take it. So
It's so good.
I just think I kind of almost don't want them to do like an older Batman. Like
I think you're gonna see a mid to late 30s, Brian. Is what
Yeah,
you're
because
gonna
if they're going for older Ben Affleck, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's already the age that would think of like an older Batman, right? But I'm thinking like we said, even if you said he was 22 when he met Talia al Ghul, that's plausible.
Oh, absolutely.
People have kids at 18, so like it,
Yeah.
you know, so he could totally.
He could have banged Talia, and Roz was like, "You're banished."
Yeah, I
And
mean,
like I don't know.
so Batman could literally be 28 or 30 with a kid, a
'Cause
10-year-old kid.
I would
Good.
imagine,
Guys, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say who I want.
Go
you
ahead.
are adorable
I'm gonna
ahead.
say it because it'll answer all the questions.
because you want to be able to say that I've been saying this since day one.
I've been saying it for day one, but I've been saying it for a very long time, and it only helps because he actually voiced the character, and he's recently played a very big hero, Jensen Ackles.
Oh,
Don't
nice.
Don't do that to me.
That's
Jensen Ackles
possible.
as Batman, who he has voiced Batman in animated form
Mhm.
before, would be an incredible
Ugh.
mid to late 30s Batman with a son.
I would not be.
I like it, but there's somebody else I want more, Jake.
Well, you're wrong, Jacob.
And his name is Jake, actually. The actor that I want to play Batman.
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. That
Don't Gyllenhaal will be fucking fantastic.
for this Batman, perfect.
Gyllenhaal will be fucking fantastic.
For this Batman, I would love it.
I would love Jake Gyllenhaal so
Yeah.
much.
Give me
Yeah.
Henry Cavill as Batman.
Oh my god. Just
No,
flip
Brian,
everything on its head.
did you see what's currently happening on the internet?
Of what
peop-
Coy said.
People want Henry Cavill to play the leader of the Authority.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down.
That
for
would
it.
be funny.
But
That would be funny.
yeah, I'm very curious about this. This is gonna be cool. I kind of dig that like Batman's kind of already established to the point where he has like connections already
Mhm.
out there. Because with this announcement, it is clear as day that Batgirl is out there. Nightwing is out there. Like
Because Damian comes after all of that, right?
Damian is the final Robin. Well, the final
Yeah.
male Robin, anyway.
So
Yeah.
it is very much clear that. Oh, Jeffrey, I was 100% trolling. I was just being a smartass. It is very much clear that the Bat.
Well, I mean, it said it in the article. It said the Brave and the Bold will introduce the Bat family.
Exactly.
Like, there's a possibility we see them all in the movie.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it's very cool to me because that's never been done before. You're usually getting an origin and all that, but you're
live
getting
action, yeah.
good
Well,
amount.
I mean, honestly, it sounds like we're going to be getting the story we wanted with Ben Affleck's Batman, where he's been Batman for 10, 15, 20 years, right?
Well,
like
he's
we
had to
were
have at
hoping.
least been 10 years.
Yeah, it had to have at least been 10 years because Damian is anywhere between the 8 and 10 range.
Yeah.
So I mean, either way, it's exciting. It's setting up a lot for the Batman universe. It's not going to be your classic Batman origin story. Like, we love the Batman and everything that's going on with Robert Pattinson, but we don't need the same old stuff over and over again. This also differentiates it from the Matt Reeves Batman. Like, they are two completely different types of stories.
And I wouldn't even want a Damian Wayne in that Batman world. Like, it just wouldn't fit to me. And I'll
Not right
say
now anyway. Yeah.
This is the project that I'm most excited about, The Brave and the Bold. Because I love Batman, but who doesn't? But also, it's like, okay, we could do like, oh, he meets Dick Grayson. Even though we didn't love the movie, we've seen it like before. So I always thought, like, I don't want to say Damian's my favorite Robin because he's not, but I always thought that story is interesting. Like, when
I'm
he
telling
shows
you,
up,
watch
because
Son of Batman. It's
he's
like an hour and a half.
assassin. Like,
It's great. It's so
and
good.
like Batman's gonna have to like reel him in. Like, no, you can't kill people. Like, so it's gonna be
well. I mean, think about it. He was raised by the League of Assassins.
Yeah.
Like, and then he ends up. Batman learns that he has a son, and then he starts to live with Batman and try to take on the ways, and it's a whole thing. Like, watch Son of Batman. It's great. It should be available on HBO. If it's not, shame on you. But give yourself an hour and a half or so to watch it because it's really, really good. All right, let's move on to the next one here. It's kind of a big one. And I'm going to let Mr. Avlicino take the reins on this one. But Green Lantern is officially coming. Green Lantern is officially coming. The previously announced Green Lantern show is no longer a thing. It's been canceled. That is the Greg Berlanti version. We are moving on with this one. Here is some backstory on this one. Of all the TV series, Safran and Gunn seem most excited about Lanterns. Safran described an HBO quality event that is very much in the vein of True Detective. The show will focus on two of the best known members of the Lantern Corps, Hal Jordan and John Stewart, who investigate a mystery that Safran said plays a really big role leading us into the main story that we're telling across our film and television. So this is a very important show for us. I liken this the most important TV show just as Superman Legacy as the important movie. And then it goes on to say, it talks about the Greg Berlanti stuff, how that was pushed forward or pushed aside a little bit. But yeah, look, we are officially getting Hal Jordan back, and they are pairing him alongside John Stewart. This is very, very exciting. This is very exciting because Green Lantern, we've been wanting it. We've been pleading for it for a very long time. Hal Jordan is arguably one of the most important characters in all of DC. And John Stewart, it's just time that this dude debuts. Like, it's just freaking time this dude debuts. I know that we almost got it in Zack Snyder's stuff, but that is no longer a thing. We're going to be getting two brand new actors playing these characters. Brian, start us off, man. Thoughts on Lanterns?
So excited. Green Lantern has probably been my favorite superhero forever. I mean, that was the first comic book I think I really got into. I mean, there is so much you can do with Green Lantern. It's insane. Like, I mean, you've got all the different color rings. You've got so many different things you can go into. So many different villains, setups. Oh my God, I cannot freaking wait for this. I don't even have words for it. Give me at some point, I want to see the full color spectrum of all the rings. Just everything about this. Atrocitus, Larfleeze, everything. Give me everything. I cannot wait for this. It's finally they're gonna get to this, and they seem to be already established because obviously if they're already detectives and crap doing stuff like that, you're not going to get an origin story.
I think if there's any origin, it's for John Stewart under the wing of Hal Jordan.
Oh, possibly.
Yeah.
That would Hal Jordan has 100% been a Lantern for years at this point.
Oh,
if anything, it would
John
just
could,
be
it could
John
be like
Stewart origin.
John Stewart's rookie year as
he's a rookie
Green
cop
Lantern.
with Hal Jordan. That's the
exactly.
only explanation for any origin. If not, they've been Lanterns for a couple years.
I do hope.
Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, they're both Lanterns at one time, but Hal Jordan's been put into a higher regard in a different specter, and then John Stewart takes over the Earth quadrant.
He's not even on Earth anymore, right?
Yeah, so he basically kind of goes off essentially,
and then they need someone to protect that sector.
Yeah, essentially.
That's what I figured.
So yeah, there's so my only fear. I hope they don't make Hal Jordan just like the established one, only to kill him off and John Stewart take over.
They're not going to.
No.
They're not going to kill him, Brian. I promise you, they're not going to.
I hope not, because I still really badly want.
I mean, at least not right away.
Yeah,
they're not going to kill him because of what happened in the 2011 Green Lantern. They're not going to do people like that.
I hope not.
I don't think so.
I would love to see like the Star Sapphires and their relationship, just all of it. And I don't, because like Jon Stewart obviously isn't in love with the Star Sapphires and whatnot. I'm just getting so excited for the possibilities of this. It could just be so massive. This world, you could literally do a whole DC universe with Green Lantern and never set foot basically on Earth. It's that big. So it's I cannot wait. I would be floored if because he said that it's setting up the bigger picture. If they start out with Blackest Night, I would drop to the ground and pass out. But
is that like a huge DC storyline or what?
It involves all the colored rings. The black rings are basically necromancy.
I don't know if they'll start there.
I don't think they will.
They could lead there.
Well, they said they're going to uncover something that has to do with like the ongoing story that they're telling. But I'm guessing like Superman, the authorities, it's all going to connect and lead to some big thing going on.
Yeah. But yes, Gordon, Carol, that was what I was implying to her becoming a Star Sapphire, and maybe she already is one because she kind of becomes the leader of them basically. So like that could be interesting if Hal Jordan's
Hal Jordan is established, he already fell in love with her. So
yeah, which means she might already have a ring, which would be wild to just start there. So there's so much potential, and he seems to be like, I mean, like you said, they're so excited about it. Like if Guardians of the Galaxy is anything close to this, I'm so excited. So I'll stop.
Well, they know how important this is. They know how big this is because of the 2011, and they understand how big of a character Green Lantern is to the entire DC universe. Not just in the sense of like how big his world is. Obviously, it's galactic, and there's so many story possibilities. Not just with like the colored rings, but the amount of characters that are involved, the amount of worlds that are involved. And how much he matters to Superman's and the Flash. Like, let's not forget that the Flash's best friend is Green Lantern. Like, that's also something that we need to see that on screen. Like, that needs to be seen on screen. I'm extremely excited. I think Green Lantern is very much up there in some of my favorite characters. I think the possibilities for this series is pretty much endless right now, and I think they're going to go big. I really do. We know just from James Gunn's Marvel history that he loves space. He loves galactic stuff. He obviously set up the entire space quadrant of the MCU with Guardians of the Galaxy. And I think he's going to be doing the exact same thing with Lanterns. And Gordon, just to answer your question, we're not going to reveal anything because that will 100% be a casting table episode. So stay tuned for all of that. We have a lot of new characters to cast. That's all I can say.
Yeah, we do. No, I am looking forward to this. Like you said, Jake, Superman is the most important movie. Superman is the most important project that they have to get right. It just is. But after that, it is this. Like, they could mess up on Brave and the Bold, and it won't hurt them that much. But if they mess up this Green Lantern show, like, it hurts the Green Lantern character and property very, very much because obviously 2011 was swing and a miss. So they have to do something, and especially they already announced a show that people were questioning. Where is it? Where's any news on this show? Nothing. And I'm glad they actually canceled that one. And we're getting this. And they said it's like a true detective show. Like, I don't think it's going to be dark and gritty, but it could be. It could be. I mean, look, it's a space thing. It's gonna be have like a spectacle. It's gonna be a spectacle as well because it's in space, obviously. But it can be dark and gritty. It's just not going to be like regular humans dark and gritty, but it's going to be like sci-fi dark and gritty, which I'm totally down for.
Will lose my mind if I see a Red Lantern.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
If they're established, Brian, you're probably going to see most.
Which one is like the most evil one? Isn't it yellow?
I mean, technically the most evil one is the black one because it's necromancy.
What if there's like a serial killer lantern going around? Like
that would be Atrocitus.
That could be it.
What color is that? Atrocitus?
That's the red one. He's the leader of because they're literally thrive off like fear and like
blood. Somebody having that power, like that's scary. So
Yeah.
It's very possible.
can't
Very
wait.
possible. All right, we're gonna have to blaze through some of these other properties. We are running out of time here, so we're gonna not go super quick, but we're gonna try to get through these. The next one up we have is Supergirl, Woman of
Oh,
Tomorrow, which is super, super exciting here. This is a film. Let me go and bring up that image again, if I have it up. Just to make sure I'm showcasing this off. Let's see. Apologies. Here we go. Boom. It is right there down in the second row in the middle. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Not an official logo, but it's right there. No official release date for the film just yet. Expect it in 26 or 27. And this movie, the title is actually a comic book run. It is a comic book run. And it's based off of Tom King's comic book run of the same name from 2021 and 2022. Tom King is in the writer's room for the DCU. And it features Superman's cousin Kara Zor-El, and Gunn explained it's a very different type of Supergirl. And he goes on to say, we see the difference between Superman, who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents from the time he's an infant, versus Supergirl, who was raised on a rock chip off of Krypton and watched everyone around her die and be killed in terrible ways for the first 14 years of her life. Gunn calls this Supergirl much more hardcore, though King's series also involves Crypto, the Superdog. This is interesting. So this is one of the projects that is actually named after something specifically. And this is the one that everyone is really talking about because you actually have a story to go off of. Like, we can talk about this in full if they are to base it off of that comic. Obviously, things can change, etc. But there is no word if the Supergirl from The Flash will carry over. More than likely, you'll probably end up seeing a recast of the character for Supergirl. Things could obviously be different. But I'm all for it. I think Supergirl is a very rich character. She is very interesting. She is so vastly different from Superman. I've loved the character for a long time. I was obviously introduced to her through Smallville. Laura Vandervoort played her for a number of seasons on that show. And then we got Melissa Benoist's character on the CW, which I thought was fantastic as well.
Which I still loved her as Supergirl.
Agreed.
She was great.
Agreed. I agree. And I can't wait to see what happens. I really can. I think it's very interesting that they're going off of a comic run that was just in the last 2 years.
That's crazy.
So I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
To be honest.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
I love this. Yeah, because they're, first of all, they're not only treating Superman with respect and how he should be treated, they're also treating Supergirl with that same respect. Like, how many movies were announced? There's 5 movies announced, right? In their chapter 1. Mm-hmm. One of them is a Superman movie. One of them is a Supergirl movie. And that's big. And I love that. And he's right. Like, she was already like a teenager, right? Or a grown woman when Superman was shipped off to Krypton as a baby. Like, she knew him as a baby. Like, so imagine, like, you go and then you end up on Earth too, and your cousin's all grown up. And it's like, it's such an interesting story. So I can't wait to see this. I'm so glad she's getting a film, like a theatrical film.
I agree.
Great.
I agree. And from what I understand, the story, she's helping out. Actually, I think I pulled it up. Here we go. This is the synopsis from Woman of Tomorrow. An alien girl seeks her out for a vicious mission. Her world has been destroyed, and the bad guys responsible are still out there. She wants revenge, and if Supergirl doesn't help her, she'll do it herself, whatever the cost.
Nice.
So it sounds like it's taking place out in space.
Yeah.
Everything in space.
Well, yeah, it sounds like
Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first heard the word Supergirl come out of my mouth, I was pissed because I was like, dude, you're just setting up Superman. Like, we're already getting another super person. Then I heard how she's kind of jaded and living in space and then I went, oh, like,
yeah, it's not the same story.
That. Like, I was very much like, okay, like, this is gonna be cool. So I love the spin on, like, because I was like, that was my biggest thing. I was like, you're already gonna set up 2 super people in this world, but she isn't like necessarily like sounds like the best of super people. So yes, please.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next television show. very interesting one that I'm sure one person on this panel is extremely excited about, and that is Paradise Lost. Let's talk about some Paradise Lost here. A Wonder Woman prequel taking place on the island of Themyscira, the home of Diana, and it is being described as a Game of Thrones-ish story.
Interesting.
Saffron said it's really about the political intrigue behind a society of all women. And James Gunn added, how did that come about? What's the origin of an island of all women? What are the beautiful truths and the ugly truths behind all that? And what's the scheming like between the different power players in that society? The provocative title recalls the Paradise Island Lost comic series authored by Bill Jimenez and George Perez, which followed a civil war on Themyscira. However, that run directly involved Wonder Woman, excuse me. It's been said this is a prequel. It takes place before Wonder Woman. And so it very much could be based on that comic series, just not including Wonder Woman.
Interesting.
But either way, we're getting the island of Themyscira. I think it's very interesting. Obviously, there's a lot, like they said, it's a very political, like, how does that all happen? Like, what goes on there on the insides? Because we've never really dived into that, obviously. So I'm all for it. I think it's going to be interesting, especially as a TV series, like a week-to-week thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a really smart idea to do it that way. Jacob, what about you? Game of Thrones style Wonder Woman prequel on the island of Themyscira.
I don't know if, HBO's telling them, hey, drop like some of our show names when you're comparing the shows to the shows that you're making. But either way, it's cool because HBO is going to be making them. So it works either way. This is interesting to me. Like, I'm all for a Themyscira show, a Game of Thrones-esque Themyscira show. I don't think they do it without Diana. Even if it's like a 15-year-old Diana, I don't think they do it without her. I think she will be in the show. Honestly.
I'm pretty sure they said it's before Diana. I'm pretty sure they said it's
though.
Before, not like before she's born. Diana is. I'm pretty sure.
Well, we don't know for sure yet, but I'm just saying, like, they're probably having those discussions because I bet you probably the executives are like, no, Wonder Woman has to be in the show, and James Gunn's probably like, no, I have this story I want to tell without her. I'm cool either way. I love the I don't want to say the political, but just the way the world is run. I mean, we saw it in the first two Wonder Woman movies. And look, I think it's going to be very different than that, right? Because I kind of hope so. Like, because it's not going to be like Connie Nielsen playing the character, right? Like, it's not going to be those characters. It's a different, brand new Themyscira, and
it's going to be those characters with different actresses.
Yeah, which I'm totally
like. We're gonna get Hippolyta.
Yeah.
We're gonna get what's the aunt's name?
General Antiope.
Antiope. We're gonna get those characters just played by different actresses.
Yeah, I'm all for it because, like, if you made a show, if you just made a show out of the blue where it's like all women cast, like, stupid people are gonna complain. But Themyscira, it already exists, like, in fiction. Like, it's already a world that exists in DC where only women live there. And they already have it right there, the starting point for it. And now they get to build something around that, which I think is really cool.
I would love, like, let's say like they're aiming for this show to be like 2 seasons.
So help me God, if you say what I'm thinking, I'm going to lose my mind.
Go ahead, Brian, just in case. Go ahead.
Okay. I think what you could see is the potential for already having different Wonder Woman set up. Maybe like Diana's there and she's part of one house, let's say, or maybe Nubia is a part of a different one. Like, that'd be kind of cool to have them already there. They're maybe just fighting for the title of Wonder Woman or something. I don't know. But what Gordon said is what I originally thought of, is kind of like you're getting the young Hippolyta leading up to a certain extent.
Kind of leads to what I was going to say.
Okay, perfect.
I think there's a high chance that if this is a prequel, and because right now Wonder Woman's not officially on like the chapter 1 of this, right? Say this is 2 seasons or even 1 season. That post-credit scene or the final episode is when Diana is actually born or brought to life.
Yeah. Well,
right? Because she has multiple backstories. Is she born or is she made out of clay? Like, right? But I think
or
that
is Zeus her father?
I think it would be very cool if the show actually ended with Hippolyta essentially raising Diana. Like the final scene or final moments are Diana coming, and then we obviously know what happens from there. Like we don't need to see that.
No, I'm
right?
cool with that. I'm cool with that, honestly, because obviously it's going to take place, before Superman, like Superman Legacy, right? It's going to be like 30 years before that or something. So if that's the case, then that's totally fine, because eventually, like, I know we're not starting with the Justice League or anything, but eventually I want to see a full-fledged like Justice League, Hall of Justice, all that. So you gotta have Wonder Woman come around at some point.
Can you imagine like the buildup of like the years to finally getting to that point? That's going to be so much more special than just like.
Yeah, I'm all for it. All for it.
Well, that was the complaint about the whole Batman v Superman Justice League stuff. Like,
no, I know, and I'm just saying, like,
right?
If we have to, like, we're basically working by sitting here watching all of this stuff, and then eventually them teaming up is going to be like, holy crap, it's finally happening. So.
All right, let's move on to our final movie here. Just making sure I get my timestamps down so I can clip all this out later. Swamp Thing, our final movie that we're talking about here. Let me pull up this graphic one more time. Swamp Thing, the bottom right-hand corner over there. Very cool looking logo.
Can I say something before you go into it? Just really quickly. These last two were the two characters I would have bet all of my money on.
The last character is the one that I was hoping for really badly.
The last two.
I can't wait to talk about it.
The last two, I knew he was going to grab and put. Go ahead, Jake. Sorry. These were the two I was talking about earlier.
So Swamp Thing, probably the most interesting character that is announced as a first batch of characters for the DCU. This is what is said in the Variety article. Easily the most extreme example of Gunn and Safran's conviction to diversify the DCU. Swamp Thing will investigate the dark origins of Swamp Thing, Safran said, through the prism of horror. By way of explaining further, Gunn referenced the initial reactions to the Guardians of the Galaxy joining the MCU and initial questions about how Rocket would be standing next to Thor. That mashup quality would end up being one of the highlights of Infinity War and Endgame. Gunn said they're one-upping that approach with Swamp Thing. This is much more of a horrific film, but will still have Swamp Thing interact with the other characters.
Wow.
So look, it's clear that they're picking and choosing these characters specifically. They're trying to touch every possible corner that they can, while also making sure that these characters will in fact interact later on at some point down the road. I love this. I think Swamp Thing is such a rich and different and cool character that needs his chance to shine. We had that TV show that CBS or CW or someone just absolutely obliterated,
that they
and
canceled before.
And people actually said it was. People said it was actually really good, and they never got a chance to see it. I love this. I think this is so cool. And look, James Gunn has a horror background. That's what he's passionate about mostly. He comes from that background. It is obvious that this was going to be something at some point. So I'm all in at Swamp Thing. I think it's going to be super cool. And I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Yeah, same. No, I learned a lot about Swamp Thing, honestly, from Harley Quinn, because Poison Ivy's in the show, and they can connect to something called the Green, where it's like all plant-based characters can connect that, and they could communicate through that. Like they can talk to each other. They can literally like rip the world in half if they wanted to. Like Swamp Thing's very, very powerful. And so there's so many different things you can do with that. And I think because he's that powerful, he's so tapped into the earth and all of that, I think he can play a big part in the DCU. Like, because if Earth is in trouble, like he's going to feel it. He's going to be able to sense it.
Well, he's also a part of the Justice League Dark.
Yeah. So,
Constantine, Zatanna, Swamp Thing. Like,
yeah. So I think we're going to, I'm excited for it. And look, it's a horror movie. I love that they're like announcing theatrical films for some of these characters. It's great.
He's gonna make this a scary ass movie.
I wish
it's gonna be terrifying.
he directed this of all of them.
There's a possibility that he might.
I mean, there's not.
But I also wouldn't mind him getting like
no, somebody
like
else.
James
the guy.
Wan.
No, not James Wan. I was gonna say the guy that he basically like kind of tutored that did what was the horror Superman movie
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I know it. Yeah.
with the kid
Yeah, you guys challenged me to it.
because James
Brightburn.
Gunn Brightburn, yeah, because James Gunn
Yeah.
executive produced and he pretty much
Mhm.
handplucked that director. There's a director right there.
David Murawski.
Yeah, there you go. He can direct Swamp Thing. Why not?
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, if as long as James Gunn, like, he's producing it, obviously, and it's not like a fake producer. It's like he's actually has hands-on, you know, work on it. Yeah.
Yes, please. I'm all for this. Especially again, DC can get away with doing R and stuff like that, whereas Marvel can't. This is where you step into that because you have a leg up on Marvel in this sense. DC or Disney is not going to do a horror R-rated superhero movie.
I mean, we did just get Werewolf by Night, but that's okay.
But that's not R-rated horror.
Deadpool 3 is coming, Brian.
Horror.
There we go.
Horror is the word I'm going.
Yeah,
I know,
Deadpool 3 is a horror movie. Yeah.
It's gonna be a horror R-rated movie just to do it.
Yeah.
Brian. Watch, just watch. All right, let's get to our final project here. One that I cannot wait to talk about. I
Interesting.
love this character so much, and let me just make sure I get my timestamp down.
He's such a douchebag, and
Booster freaking Gold, my boy. Where's his logo? Right there in the middle. Look at that, right under Superman, because he's that important.
Right in the middle of the middle. Yeah.
It is going to be a live action series, which I absolutely love. Booster Gold is so cool. So my first introduction to Booster Gold was through Smallville. He has a pretty good arc in Smallville. And I've read some comics with him before. Let me go ahead and read what they said here in the article. Finally, there's Booster Gold, which allows the DCU to fully stretch into outright comedy. While he may not be familiar to casual fans of DC, the character, also known as Mike Carter, is a fan favorite among devoted readers. Safran called Booster a loser from the future who uses basic future technology to come back at today and pretend to be a superhero. In the 25th century, Mike is a disgraced former football star who uses a time machine on display in the Metropolis Space Museum. Added Gunn, basically, Booster Gold is imposter syndrome as a superhero. That is the first time in Smallville. He literally, like the first time we ever see him, he just shows up from time traveling and saves someone from like a car crash or something. And Superman's like,
but he knew the car crash was coming.
Yeah, because like you know, like, and Superman's like, who the hell is this guy? And then it's like the whole thing breaks out.
Wow.
I love this. I love this so much. I love that it's a TV show. I am terrified on who is going to play him because I have a feeling I know what's going to happen. But
the same person I am.
I have a feeling that James Gunn has already casted Chris Pratt to play this character.
Really?
I have a very scary feeling that Chris Pratt is playing this character. But I have another person I think would be effing perfect for this role.
Does he happen to be codenamed Hangman?
He sure does. Glenn Powell would be perfect for this role.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be Chris Pratt.
You know who else would be perfect? I think Jacob would really like this.
Who?
Zac Efron.
Hey, I'd be down for
That would be hilarious.
Zac Efron would be really good.
And he can do comedy. I could
Zac
totally
Efron would
see
be
Zac
really,
Efron
really
doing
good.
it. Yeah.
Anyway,
I love Chris Pratt, by the way, but no.
Yeah.
I love this. For those who don't know who Booster Gold is, his backstory is so effing bonkers. He is from the future. He is like completely just crapped on by the popular superheroes of that year, of those years. And he's like, F this, F you. I'm going to time travel and become a superhero in the past. And what's cool about this is that Booster Gold and Blue Beetle go hand in hand a lot. And what are we getting this year?
Yeah.
Blue Beetle. So there is a huge possibility that Blue Beetle of this year continues on and we get Blue Beetle in the Booster Gold series. Either way, I'm all for it. I think it's super, super cool. I just can't wait to see who plays him. Like I want Glenn Powell or Zac Efron. That's all I want. I just want one of them.
Unsee Zac Efron as the role. I mean, I don't know much about Booster Gold. It is Blue Beetle, right? The one they always, but it's the Ted Kord one. It's not but still, you could still have a connection there. Like somehow because I think just because Blue Beetle isn't about Ted Kord, that doesn't mean Ted Kord can't be in the universe still, or somehow.
So the technology of Blue Beetle comes from Kord Industries.
Yeah, so you can still have it play into it in some way. But yeah, I look, people have been talking about Booster Gold for years, like doing something with him. So I can't wait.
Look at how much of a douche he looks like. Come on. Just give it to us.
Yeah, there we
There's
go.
some other names that because I literally sat there thinking like, who would be good for this? Obviously, the ones that you came up with, Jake, are just like the Hangman one would just be. It's almost
You know
too-
who else would be
Mhm.
good, and I would hate to see him go over there, but Ryan Gosling.
Oh
yeah.
little older one. Yeah.
I was if you know who else I was thinking of, just out of the pure like cheesy playing one, Alan Tudyk would be pretty funny. Like
He's not superhero type though.
Yeah, but he would be hilarious. Like
I mean, they did say he's a loser from the future. I think Alan Tudyk could play that.
Other one I thought of was Channing Tatum.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he could.
I'm still holding out for Marvel to do a Gambit with him.
Yeah, I know. But like Channing Tatum can be pretty damn funny.
He
like,
could do it. I wouldn't be mad if they.
I immediately think of how he is within what is that?
21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street?
No, the one where he.
This is the end.
This is the end. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
no, he's funny. He really is.
Gordon, you're right. It was the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle in Smallville. Correct.
Oh, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Did him and did they interact? Him and
Booster
Booster Gold?
100%. Yeah.
Oh, they did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Jake, I looked at Booster Gold in Smallville, and I was like, oh, maybe using it earlier season. Nope, season 11.
No, not season 11 because there was only 10 seasons.
Oh, really?
It might have been season 10 then.
It says
it was either 9 or 10. It was late on. It was late.
Live action Smallville episode. I don't know. Oh, no.
What episode?
Sorry. I was reading it wrong. It said I was reading the year.
2011, so that was season 10.
Okay.
That was season 10, was 2011.
Yeah.
Manzo, I love the pick, but no, thank you. Not Neil Patrick Harris as Booster Gold.
Oh, dang. He didn't come till 1, 2, 3.
He came late.
He was the 5 episodes before the finale.
Yeah, he was late. I'm telling you, he was late.
Yeah. It's called Booster.
He was the grand finale villain of Smallville.
Because he's such a douchebag. Yeah.
There's 217 total episodes. He came in at 213.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, if you just watch those episodes without any context, you would laugh your ass off at
So, does Booster Gold have powers?
He has technology.
Okay.
He would essentially be Kang trying to be like.
But he has access to future tech. That's why, right?
Yes.
Okay. Makes sense.
In our world, he's superhero.
How far ahead in the future is he? Do we know?
I think it's like the 25th century, I want to say, or something.
So his technology would be very advanced. So it would make him seem like
believe him.
Yeah,
the 20. So he was born in 2442, so the 25th century.
Ooh, yeah, they got everything then, teleportation, all that.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, like it's gonna be super cool because we're gonna be seeing. They're gonna have to tell the story of him leaving his time, which we're going to see all of that.
We're going to see the future. Yeah.
We're going to see all of that. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but Superman might be alive at that point. Because Booster Gold is a fan of him.
Could be.
That's where all this comes from. He's a fan of Superman. If not, it might be like a statue or a museum or something. Yeah, but he's a fan of Superman. And that he basically tries to impersonate him in a way. But he calls himself Booster Gold.
But why does he have to go back to the time during this time?
Because Superman is active.
Exactly. So yeah.
That's why. Well,
so
that's
back
why.
Prime Superman years.
He does that. He does that in Smallville because that's when Superman is active. In the comics, I'm not too sure. I haven't read too much on it, but all I know is that he comes back.
That makes sense.
He comes back to the 21st century. And he just starts saving people to try to be a superhero. So It's gonna be awesome. I'm telling you,
At
Booster
least
Gold's
he's
gonna be
saving
so
people,
cool.
right? Like,
Oh
doing
my
something
god,
good?
Vapion, this is so true. He is totally like Captain Amazing and Mystery
Wow.
Man.
That's funny.
Absolutely, yes.
I
That is
kind
a
of want
great
to watch
comparison.
this now.
I'm telling you, it is. I can't wait for Booster Gold. That's one of the things I'm most looking forward to for sure.
If
And I please need Glenn Powell or Zac Efron to play this character.
it
Love it.
if they can make Peacemaker be like that type of funny,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
right up a Peacemaker type style.
Oh, for sure.
100%. 100%.
This is gonna be fun.
It's gonna be so fun.
I'm excited for all this DC stuff. I know there's people going to be upset, but you know, this. Who knows? This could be. I mean, the start of something super fun, and that's what I'm looking at.
I think what DC has done is they've definitely separated themselves from what Marvel's did. They've plucked the original populars, and they've kind of put some obscure different stuff around them, which I think is very smart. They're introducing people to new things that have never been seen before because people do not want to say the same thing over and over and over and over again.
And I guarantee you, there's probably stuff they didn't announce too.
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah.
There's probably 10 more.
He said this is a part of chapter 1.
Yeah, like there's definitely more stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that they're called chapters. I know I already said it. I just think it's so different than Marvel's that I love it because it very much DC does a lot of stuff that feels like chapters. Like Injustice had chapters. So it was I love that way that they're going through it. It's awesome. Gods and
it's gonna be very, very exciting. Any final thoughts, boys, on anything here DC wise before we wrap up?
Okay, so what's everyone's number one thing they're most excited for? Mine's obvious. Mine's Lanterns.
The Brave and the Bold.
So basically just Jake. What's you? Say Booster Gold.
No, I'm gonna say the Brave and the Bold because Nightwing was the one thing I wanted.
Oh yeah,
and
nice.
it's the one thing that I want DC to do. And there's a chance of seeing him in that or possibly being teased. So I'll just say the Brave and the Bold for that reason alone.
That's fair.
Next would be Lanterns. I think those are the two projects that I'm like looking forward to the most. But yeah, so all right, everybody, that's gonna wrap up the show for the week. Lot of covered here. Picked on a lot here. There's obviously a lot to talk about with DC. I'm sure the conversation is not done. Again, the DC cultist is not here to discuss this with us tonight. Gio will definitely be putting his thoughts out there. I'm sure.
Cultist, he's a shill.
DC shill. There you go. The DC shill.
Hey, shills get paid, so where's his money?
Who knows? He might be getting that's why he's not here because he's too big for us now.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's do some quick plugs before we wrap it up. Jacob, where can everyone find you online?
Yes, on Twitter at Jacob Bartley 824. That's it.
That was quick
for now.
Brian.
Be a Volcino on Twitter and Instagram. Join my book cult on Goodreads, which is my name. Jacob's in my cult. He's a part of my cult now.
I did join. I got 2 books on there.
I
gotta go add all my other ones.
Yep. And then A Certain Point of View with Jake, because we just talked The Last of Us.
Sure did. Nice.
Amazing.
At Qui-Gon Jake, 2 ends because someone else took it before I did. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm gonna talk about some of the DC stuff on my own TikTok if you want to follow me there. Just note for Bad Batch review, guys, we are not doing it tomorrow. That'll happen on Thursday. We got to push to Thursday. So we will be reviewing and talking Bad Batch on Thursday. Just got some things going on tomorrow. So all of our Star Wars discussion will happen on Thursday.
That's
so
why.
It's all good. I mean, we're all busy. And we'll be back here next week for Apocaflix Now. And then, maybe possible DC show in the future. So to everyone watching live, we appreciate you guys. Stay safe. Do your thing out there, and we will catch you guys next week. Night, guys.